back. We're getting in some breaking inputs. We are learning that the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, has taken a dig at the US media over Article 370's abrogation. The External Affairs Minister set the record straight on Article 370, and I quote him verbatim. He said that if you look at the Article 370 issue, what was a temporary provision of the Constitution was finally put to rest. This was supposed to be an act of majoritarian. Now tell me, what was happening in Kashmir was not majoritarian. That is what the External Affairs Minister had to say. Let's also listen in to what he said.
If you look at the whole 370 issue, what was a temporary provision of the Constitution was finally put to rest. This was supposed to be majoritarian. Now tell me, what was happening in Kashmir was not majoritarian. So, I think the way facts are slanted, things are played up, what is right, what is wrong is confused. This is actually politics at work.
All right. So it's important to highlight that the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, made these remarks at a significant event. It was during a book reading of Modi at 20 in Washington, D.C. And this is when he was asked questions on the current understanding of U.S. lawmakers on the Kashmir issue. Let's quickly go across to our international affairs correspondent Abhishek Jha, who's joining me on the phone line with more details. Abhishek, of course, Mr. Jaishankar, not mincing his words, clearly reaching out to the foreign media, especially the US media, in terms of how misconstrued the Indian narrative has been in the international media so far. He's certainly reaching out to the international media and trying to rectify that.
Of course, Jaishankar, in that context, only Jaishankar had said that the Western media or the media that have been criticizing India for a very long time, they have felt that themselves as a custodian of Indian narrative, and whenever India has tried to move from that, there has been a rattled up sentiment in them. And on the issue of abrogation of 370, the sentiment that the foreign media expressed was similar to that. They could not digest the fact that India has taken a very strong stand on its own internal issue, and they tried to misrepresent the facts that this 370 has been a temporary provision, and any government in the past could have done away with that because it was never ever conceived to be a permanent article of the Constitution. And in that context, only India tried to abolish that and create the new formation in Jammu and Kashmir. So in that context, Jaishankar tried to explain that foreign media also do not let Indian point of view come across very well, and they always try to define the narrative as per their own convenience. And in that context, the whole situation or the whole incidences that has happened post 370's abrogation has been explained or represented in the Western media in that way only.
Right. And Abhishek, this also comes after, days, rather years after, we saw, Western politicians, MPs from various parts of the country, including the European Union, were made to, in fact, even visit Kashmir post the abrogation of Article 370, and yet that narrative has remained in Western media, especially when it comes to the United States. We've seen some very, very controversial, rather misconstrued write-ups surface, say, in publications like the New York Times. So I think the timing of Jaishankar's comments is very crucial and critical.
Okay, so timing also happens with the same United Nations General Assembly timing, where Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif also tries to raise the issue of Kashmir. Turkish President also raised the issue of Kashmir. So in that way, Pakistan and its peer never let the Kashmir issue get away from the side of the public debate outside India and Pakistan, because that helps the narrative of Pakistan. India has always maintained the sovereignty over Jammu and Kashmir, and a part which is still under the occupation of Pakistan. So whenever there is a Pakistan's Prime Minister or Foreign Minister, they happen to visit the USA or other part of the Europe, they try to create those flutters around issue of Jammu and Kashmir, and they have been successful in past also because the Western media also gave them proper space. And this is what Jaishankar has also said, that we know that what are they going to publish of this event. He was clearly taking a dig at the Washington Post when he was in Washington DC, that at times the narrative, the opinion pieces, the news, the way they are going to be printed next day is very much understood or can be predictable. So this is how the US media has also tried to take stand on Jammu and Kashmir, which has never been aligned with the facts, but it has more been aligned with the rhetorics of Pak and other Western interests.
Abhishek, I'm going to request you to stay with us because I'm also joined in by Najbul Shakib of the PDP right now. Najbul, how would you react to what the External Affairs Minister had to say, countering the narrative that has been surfacing in Western media, particularly in the United States?
Well, I think it is disingenuous on the part of Foreign Minister, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar ji, who's a highly learned man and has been in the helm of affairs for the last 40 years and knows the ins and outs of all the diplomatic speak. I think when he says that Article 370 was temporary, I think he's not being he's not doing justice to the facts, because it was temporary, because it was subject to a condition of plebiscite, which was to be held at a certain prospective date. But having said that, we have consecutive Supreme Court rulings, successive ones rather, which have clearly said and ruled that Article 370
Najbul, you are missing out on one very crucial fact. Why he spoke about Article 370, the abrogation of Article 370, the crucial aspect of it is in terms of how it was played up in Western media. He's spoken about how facts are slanted, and this is something that all of us here in Indian media have been privy to, whether it is Washington Post, whether it is the New York Times. Not to forget, as my colleague Abhishek Jha was also pointing out, the timing of it. You go to, say, a global session like the UNGA, and all you have coming from the Pakistani Prime Minister is rake up the issue of Kashmir at a time when his own country is struggling to make ends meet, at a time when his entire country has been struggling with a flood situation which has been catastrophic. All they can rake up is Kashmir.
Well, I think we shouldn't always look at the negative aspect of things. There was certainly a positive aspect where the Pakistanis have also extended, given the dire situation that they find themselves in currently. They have extended an olive branch and extended a request to India for resumption of trade. I think that is a fairly positive take that we can, and I think we should build on it. I don't think...
Right, and if they want to build on it, then they should not be... No. So if we are talking about resumption of trade, then perhaps they should not be taking up matters like Kashmir at the UNGA. Having said that, I'm going to request you to stay with us. I'm going to request you to hold on to your thoughts. I'm also joined in by